Live! Welcome everyone to Shifting Lanes Garage, Shifting Lanes Live. I'm Chad. With me as always is the Gregson. Greg, how you doing, my dude?
I am good. I am in short sleeves. It is an open garage. It is lovely. It is super nice out. I'm stoked to actually be, resetting my camera now that I've done that. I'm stoked to be in my garage and no longer in sweatpants. I'm actually in shorts too. The next step is shorts, short sleeve, and sandals, and then we know it's summer in New Jersey. So very excited for that. And overall, just really good because it's Carlisle week. We're going to Carlisle this Friday, and I'm excited. Can't wait for the trip. But we also have a really good piece of news that came out today that I know Chad's excited about, but I'm extra excited about.
Yes. Arguably the most exciting thing to come out of Korea ever.
That's actually, I would say probably, for Korean cars, that's actually not an overreaction, quite frankly. I think it's up there. It might be the most exciting. It's easily top five. But this is big. This is a big deal, and it's big news. And we're going to start with that one tonight. But Chad, how are you this evening?
I am doing fantastic. We're finally getting to Mustang weather. So I can finally start thinking about opening her up.
Nice. Apparently I have an echo going on, just FYI, Chad.
There's deleting the Gregson echo. I apologize, Chad, because one Greg sounds awful, two Gregs sound that. But
just worse.
Boost weather is upon us.
Yes.
Just in time for Carlisle. I don't have to worry about my tires. Well, I do, but...
No. But no.
But, before we move on, since we have him in chat...
Yes.
Blam.
Yes. Justin is part of our supporter crew, the Shift Squad. You can find that group if you go to our main Facebook page and click the button. You can join our private group. And today is Justin's birthday. So everyone in chat, please wish Justin a happy birthday. Justin, happy birthday, dude. Excited to see you in Carlisle because Justin is coming to Carlisle. And for those that are going to Carlisle and part of our supporter group, we're doing a movie night at Doug's Place on Saturday, and Justin will be part of that. So if you do want to do stuff with us, the Shifting Lanes crew, please become part of our supporter group. Justin's birthday. Congratulations on another year around the sun, my dude. And you are very welcome, sir. Glad we can make your day. Glad we can be part of your day at all, just doing this stream. So with that said, Justin, here's your birthday news. Chad, please take it away for the wonderful news coming out of Korea on Justin's birthday. We can now not hear you.
Oh, right.
There we go.
Myself for everyone else's benefit. So, to those of you who have paid attention, one of the cars we have been talking about whenever we bring up like electric vehicles and things like that is this. This is the Envision 74 that recent rumors have is actually going into production. So if you believe them, this car is going to be a production vehicle. Now,
yep. And it's in May. It's going into production at the end of this month. That's huge. I cannot even begin to tell you how excited I am because we've talked about this car a bunch on stream. And one, just look at it. Would you just look at it? It's just like the GIF or GIF or however you pronounce it. Would you just look at it?
Yeah.
Like, it is arguably the best looking concept car after the year 2000. This thing is staggeringly gorgeous. It is retro done perfectly. There is not anything I would change on this car from an aesthetic standpoint. It is perfect. It really is. And if this exact thing is going into production, then I'm going to basically ask Chad and Hansen to put all of the Shifting Lanes money into buying one. I no longer want to build this.
And the
I
best
want to
news
buy that.
And the best news about it is it's going to be powered by a white block. I'm kidding.
Yeah, could you imagine?
That'd be so... Like, Volvo is...
Hyundai creates amazing, beautiful, hybrid, concept, retro-inspired car, throws a 5-cylinder from the early 2000s in it from Volvo.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous thing.
So, but this news comes from a report published in the Korean publication Money Today. They will organize a Pony Day as its design studio in Seoul on May 27th. It will not reveal plans to build the car, but also show it in its final guise, presumably less radical than last year's striking concept. Really hope they don't deviate too much from it. I really hope this isn't like a FT5 or FT1, and here's your Supra. Like, I really hope it's not that.
Yeah. We'll keep going, but we'll touch on that in a few minutes because I want to talk about that.
So take the reveal date provided by Money Talk or Money Today with the proverbial pinch of salt. This is all according to Motor One, by the way. You can read the full article.
It was picked up by other journals, by the way. It's now all over the place.
So they don't mention where, just that it's the industry sources. So, I mean, this thing it just looks too good. Like, just that.
I know.
This is what will get people excited about electric vehicles, is stuff like this.
Yes.
You know, it's retro enough to where the driveline almost doesn't matter. Now, nothing was said about the driveline itself. Andrew over on YouTube, what's going on, my dude? Welcome back.
What's up, Andrew? Thanks for joining.
So the concept is some sort of fuel cell battery wizardry. And I don't know if that particular driveline we're ready for that on a full-scale production type of a deal.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact that hydrogen just isn't around enough. So my guess is the final guise of this will have some variation of like the 2-liter turbo engine that they're putting in the Elantra N, the Veloster N, that sort of stuff, hooked up to some sort of hybridized system. It'll have, my guess is it'll be some sort of, you will be able to do some miles on electric, but it won't be purely electric. I mean, who knows? I might be wrong.
Yeah.
They might just make it purely electric with a battery underneath it. They have been pushing that. So, but I feel like to get the performance figures, they're either going to up-level their electric or it's going to be some kind of hybrid. The hybrid's the one I'm going for just because noise.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it is going to be a hybrid. We all know that the Corvette is now hybrid. We know that there's going to be a hybrid Mustang eventually. So that's what I think this is going to sort of try to go for, because the original car that this was based on was it's called, I think, the Pony concept back in the 70s or 80s or something.
Yep.
And I think that that's sort of where they're going to go with this car is a hybrid. I believe you are correct. That's my that is what I think is going to happen as well. It's going to be the 2-liter, and they're also going to put it to an electric. My guess is 2 electric motors, so it'll be all-wheel drive with the 2-liter driving the front wheels, the 2 electrics driving the back. That's my guess, with torque vectoring systems and all sorts of the fun stuff. And I'm going to say somewhere in the range of 350 to 400 horsepower. That's my guess. My guess is it'll be like 275 from the engine, because that's about what a Veloster N puts out, Elantra N puts out, and then slap an extra approximately 100 horsepower on, 50 for each of the electric motors. That's my guess. What I think is going to happen also is there's going to be two different variations here. There's going to be a sort of base level where there's no wide body, no turbofans, none of that stuff. It's going to keep this same shape, but you're not going to have as wide of a car. So basically chop it where the wide body is, and slap your general 235, 245 tires on it and call it a day with no wing. That's going to be my guess. Then there's going to be a launch version that looks like this. That's my guess as to what they're going to do. Muted. You're muted.
You're muted. Long day, guys. Sorry. There's so many different routes they can take with this. I kind of agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if the top variant, the N variant, as it were, knocks on the door of about 500 horsepower all in. But given that they were pushing pretty crazy electric tech, I think I could see an electric version of this, just traditional plug-in, charge it like you would any other electric car.
Yep.
And then I could see a higher output hybrid version, or vice versa. Like, there's so many routes they could go, but see, I want to sit here and say hybrid just because that's what my heart wants, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if this was some sort of like skateboard with a battery behind the driver, so you get that 400-mile range with blistering performance. And I also could see them slapping a transversely, like, let's face it, right? If they really wanted to do it, they could basically take the subframe out of the Elantra N or the Veloster N and just move it backwards, and there you go, mid-engine figured out. And I agree with Doug. Like, if they do that, then they could potentially do a manual. I think it depends on what they're going for with this car. I mean, the original car, I think, was somewhere in the neighborhood, or the concept was going to be over 600 horsepower, that sort of stuff. I think the only way they get there is if they're purely electric. I don't, but I hope to be wrong. But I mean, if this report's to be believed, we have 19 days until we find out. So we're not going to have to wait very, very long. I'm waiting for Hyundai to be like, "Yep, cat's out of the bag. Let's do it."
Yeah.
Now
that's sort of what I wanted to hint on next is, when did this concept come out? Because it was not that long ago. I know it was last year, but it was in like October or something, right? September maybe?
Yeah,
it was not a year ago. It was not January of last year, because they're saying that this is going to be it's going to be, what is that date?
July 14th, 22.
July 14th. Okay. So it hasn't been a year yet. And they say that this is going to be unveiled May 27th. They haven't been given a year to whittle this thing down in the looks department. If you go by how car companies usually go about these things, it would take over a year to redesign this in a way a la the FT1 versus Supra was, right? Because you're going to have to pass it through committees. You're going to have to do this, that, and the other thing. I think it's going to be very similar to how it looks now.
I mean, look, if you look at it, right? So there's certain things, like the headlights are probably going to have to come up, just because they have to be a certain height. There's the bumper looks like it comes out enough and things like that. So, like, I think if they don't deviate from this at that much, it's a home run. And I understand, like, to Doug's point, like, if there's a hybrid, it'll be a manual, like, kind of gets our juices flowing pretty good. But if it looks like that, I don't care what the powertrain is. That is going to be the car of whatever year it's launched, whether it be end of this year, beginning of next year, which again is probably most feasible. Like this will probably be that super anticipated car of 2024. So
I think so.
Like it's just it's one of those things, right? Like you have to like I think Hyundai is doing a lot of really good things, and I think they're going to get it as close as the laws of, let's face it, North America will allow. Just because if you're going to have a sports car, you got to make it for the North American market. Otherwise, it's just not really going to work sales wise. So, like, I'm pretty confident it's going to end up looking like this, just because I think Hyundai is not going to want to receive the same backlash that Toyota did with the Supra, right? Now, don't get me wrong, the Supra's a great car. Doesn't look bad. It's a great vehicle.
Yeah.
But when compared to the FT1, excuse me, it's a massive letdown.
Yeah.
So I don't think their first foray into a sports, even like a super sports car, right? Like, I don't think they're going to make that mistake. I mean, I could be wrong, right? I don't want to be, but I'm very hopeful for this, just because, I mean, look at it. It's absolutely gorgeous.
I know, it really is. I mean, this is something that I mean, if it's priced right, I would consider being like, let's group buy it as shifting lanes, quite frankly. This is a car that I would say I am very much fine co-owning with someone just to be able to have it. Like this is a very different level of want for me than say your traditional, whoa, why am I so pixelated?
Because your garage door is open. It's letting all the Wi-Fi out.
Yeah, that's how that works. So yeah, I mean, this is a different level of want for me, like compared to like, your traditional Corvette or Porsche 911. Like this is up there with the F-Type for me. And that's saying a lot, because the F-Type has been my dream car probably since 2014. So this is in my top 5. If the specs are correct, if the specs are right, if it's just going to be, an EV with 300 horsepower, I'm not really interested. It needs to be a big power EV.
Yeah.
That's going to be enthusiast focused and stuff like that. And if they're going to sort of neuter it, whether it be an EV or a hybrid, if they're just going to neuter it and throw like 300 at it, which is honestly stupid, that needs to have more power than that, especially with those kind of looks, then I'm not interested. But based on looks alone, I'm extremely interested. And I don't think I've ever been more interested in a car coming out of Korea, ever.
Yeah, so my worry is that we're going to end up, and so when it got launched with this thing, the RN22 or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's basically an Ioniq 6, but enified.
My only concern is that they launched both of these at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So do they share a platform?
Right.
Right? Like that's where I potentially start to think, like, like they may, but I mean, here's the thing, right? You don't need to get crazy. It's not difficult to get crazy, stupid performance out of electric at all. Like 500 horsepower is easy.
Yeah.
It's just about the battery tech and whether or not it'll have like an effective range. Like just saying, if it
100%.
looks like that, drives like that, but it's got an effective 150, 200 mile range with 600 horsepower, it's like, that's enough for your daily commute, but it's not enough if you want to, like, I don't know, drive to Carlisle and do all those things.
Right, so, exactly, yeah.
But just touching on chat real quick. Antoine asks, have they been secretly working on it? Have they been secretly working on it quietly? Is the question, since they scrapped the mid-engine Mach Veloster N and canceled that in favor of this. I mean, it would make sense if they did the mid-engine work for that. This would be a perfect candidate for it.
Yeah, it would. You're right.
Then he continues. This would have been the whole year. They've been very quiet about it until the Korean publication just came out about it. Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of the thing that has me like, is this real, or is this like the Korean publication talked to the janitor and the janitor was blowing smoke and, for the clicks, so to speak. So
yeah, that's a concern of mine too, because when the new WRX came out, a Japanese publication had come out with a render, and it wasn't really a render per se. It was just like sort of a gussied up version of the new WRX. So it had like painted fenders instead of those plastic things above the wheel on the wheel arches. It had a big wing. It had like a slightly revised front bumper or fascia or something. It wasn't crazy. It looked like it could have been like an STI, right? And everyone was just like, "Oh man, it's coming out of Japan. This is going to be the new STI. It looks amazing," and I loved it. Quite frankly, I think it looked really good, especially with the paint matched fenders. It definitely looked way better than the WRX did. And then all of a sudden, STI came out and was just like, "No cars until we figure out the EV stuff," and basically killed the STI at that point. As far as the WRX is concerned. So that's my biggest worry, is because there's so many rumors that come out of Korea, Japan, China, for cars in general, like, because we've been hearing about like Chinese cars being adopted worldwide for so long now, and it's this rumor mill, and it has not really happened yet. So that's what I'm worried about, is that this is not really gonna happen, but I think would have been squashed very quickly by Hyundai if this wasn't true, like within the same day kind of thing. Tomorrow is really sort of the day of the cutoff of that, but I really hope that it's not going to just be some like commuter car, and it really is going to be this enthusiast thing.
Yeah, so I agree with you. There probably would have been something from Hyundai, like, we're excited, blah, blah, blah. We have, like, yada, 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 right?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, like, this car generated a huge amount of buzz. And this article coming out created a huge amount of buzz, and it's got people talking Hyundai again. So it could have just been a leak to gauge interest and been like, well, we're making it. Middle 24, like, I'm not saying that they created the leak or whatever, or this, that, but like,
right.
This is just like, we did this back in July, about 9 months ago. Someone's running with it. Let's see if the hype is real. Can we sell 2, 3, 5, 10,000 of them, to make it a worthwhile project? And like we always said, if it is an electric car, and I understand that an electric car kind of loses some of the soul to, especially some of us who do a lot with old school cars, or not even old school, but like the Mustang, your car, and stuff like that. It loses some of its luster, but the upshot is that you can take buzz and turn it into reality so much quicker than you can internal combustion, right? Like, yeah, it sounds simple to take like an Elantra N subframe and get rid of the steering rack, plop it in the middle of a car, hook up, electric motor to it, batteries, things of that nature. It sounds simple to do that, but then you still got to figure out linkages, brake, like there's a lot of complication to it, as opposed to, shoot, people really love this. Well, we got this electric thing sitting around. Let's see if we can remove the seats, put some more batteries back there, give it some really badass performance, and go from there. Like, that's the exciting thing about electric cars, is that from idea to hype to reality is going to be condensed, because it's the skateboard. Plop the body on it. Real quick, getting in the chat, Antoine mentions that the last manual hybrid, I think maybe only manual hybrid was the CRZ, and there was never a hot version of it. That was always a shame because like the CRZ was supposed to be the spiritual successor to the CRX. God damn it, Honda. Which got an SI, and those things have a cult legendary status almost. I know Mugen did a CRZ, and I'm pretty sure it was a supercharged version of it. But
I think so, yeah.
Officially Honda, even though like Mugen and like they're sort of the AMG of Honda, but they're sort of not. Like there's a lot of cross pollination there and stuff like that. But look, bottom line, if Hyundai can really, they've already announced their presence, right? Like they've been doing, like we talked about last week. They're arguably one of the most exciting brands currently. With the end.
Oh yeah.
Them and Toyota, weirdly, but I mean they could really take a shot and be like, hey, nobody's doing this. Here's retro with all the modern bells and whistles, modern driveline, etc. Like they could, some cases if you do it and if you do it right, being the first to do it is huge. So I'm excited to see what it is. I'm not getting my hopes super up, or super high, but this could be, this could be like Hyundai's like, bang, we are here. We've been nailing all of this other stuff. Here's this. Rest of the world catch up. And like,
yes,
that's pretty dang exciting.
Yeah, that is very cool. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I've already put it on my calendar on the day to see what happens. We'll be making content on it regardless. So, stay tuned for that. It's going to be really, really exciting. I can't wait. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yes, I think that's the best way to go. We've been burned before, so.
Yes. Yeah. The CRZ actually is an interesting one. But that was never brought back as an enthusiast car. I mean, it was sort of marketed by Honda as the enthusiast car, but they couldn't because they had the Civic Si. So
right, and that's
they never were like, this is the new hotness. Plus, it was smaller than the Civic, so it was one of those things where they're like, we should really try to do it again, and if people like it, then we'll do it again. But they didn't, and then they brought the Civic Type R here, and everyone was like, whoa, crazy, and now it's the thing. It's going to be here forever.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. With this, they could punch above their weight class of the current, right? So like the Elantra N, the Veloster N, that's kind of the same vehicle, just different door count right? They're roughly similar sizes and things like that. There's a lot of what's the word? Like cross-pollination of parts. They might even use the same subframe and suspension components. I don't know enough about those to be certain on that.
Yeah.
But this could punch above it. Like this could be Hyundai's, like, I don't want to say their Mustang, but it could be like in that performance window.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, because it's supposed to be based on the pony concept, the first thing that came to mind was a Mustang, obviously, because it's a pony car and its logo is a horse. So, I mean, that's the whole realm of that. They're going away, but Charger, Challenger, Camaro, Mustang. That whole realm of like pony cars, muscle cars. That this could be Hyundai's foray into that realm, but the newer version of that.
Yeah, and I think, let me put it to you this way: if it is a hybrid, what would you rather have? One of those, or whatever the hell the Dodge Charger EV ends up being?
Oh, whatever Hyundai is bringing out. If it looks like that, absolutely. And if it's a hybridized enthusiast thing with enough power, the Hyundai version for sure.
I'm right there with you, and it's like, Antoine over that, he goes, if this car gets more bang than the EV Charger Daytona SRT, Fradzonic, and sells and sells the Mopar crowd will go fuming. Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely sold that we've seen that they're not going to read the tea leaves and in a few years after the EV charger come out with a, hey, we still remember how to make internal combustion engines. Like, we've talked about synthetic fuel and stuff like that. But I mean, not for nothing. If Hyundai can come out with this and like that stereotypical picture of Hyundai making decent little cars and SUVs, I mean, that's been buffed over the last few years if you kind of talk to someone who knows. But like those who don't, and I'm not saying Mopar guys don't, I'm not saying they're not an educated bunch. I'm just saying like there's a different mindset to Hyundai and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to close my garage because it is now getting a little nippy since it's nighttime. I will be right back.
Alrighty. Let's watch Greg close his garage. At any rate, Doug, EVs are great competitors for muscle cars, but sports cars is where gas really makes a lot of sense, in his opinion. Yes. I mean, not for nothing. Electric cars are still a little too heavy to be that nimble, whatever you want to talk about it, that nimble kind of canyon carver. We're getting close, but if you want a true sports car, it's got to be, it's got to be relatively nimble, light, and not too heavy on its feet. Otherwise, it'll feel like a pony car, which effectively is what muscle cars today are. Even, anyway, could go on a rant there. Antoine tells Greg to keep his garage door opener on hand so he wouldn't have to get up. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm exhausted. Here's the bottom line, and then I guess we'll kind of move on and see what you guys are up to in the carosphere. It could be a home run for Hyundai. I think the N-Line has made people start to think of them in performance standpoints and kind of punching, this isn't Hyundai at 10 years ago kind of a thing. They launched that. I'm telling you, it could change the game. It could literally start making other manufacturers like, let's make a retro modern version of this. Let's make a retro modern of that. If we can do it right, it will be, I think this thing, if it launches, will be a sales hit. I think it will have almost, if not as much hype. Maybe not as much just because it's not the name, but it'll be close to the Supra. It'll generate that kind of buzz just because it is so different. And I think that's a win, and I think that's a win for a shift in thought process, that you don't need to make every electric car look the same, because it's basically all electric cars, if you strip the bodywork and the paint and stuff off, will have a similar shape because they're designed to do the same thing. Cut through the wind in the most efficient way possible. And there's only really one or two shapes that do that the best. This is like, hey, we can still make it electric, or we can still make it a hybrid, but it looks totally different, totally unlike anything else that's on the road. And that is pretty exciting because we're starting to get homogenous blobs of different cars. Doug, thank you for the stars for a darn coffee. If only I drank coffee.
I'll take it. I like coffee.
There you go. Greg will have it.
Also, I guess a cup of coffee's around $1. That's what 100 stars is. So you can do $1 coffee some places.
Good to know. I don't.
If you make it at home, it's about $1.
Good to know.
Yes.
Anywho, alrighty. It is now Greg's turn to be entertaining, and I will be right back.
Oh man, entertaining. Hello. I'm entertaining. Oh, actually, I just got a message from my buddy in the Polestar community. So, quick update on this car. I have not installed the new tune box on this car. I'm going to do it this week. Life has been crazy. Last week, I worked until about 1 a.m. every single night. Fun. Love my job. But I'm going to install the new tune box this week. I also got a message from a buddy in the Polestar community named Koa Win. And he was having similar issues that I was having with this car boosting. Would hit about, I don't know, I think his was like between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM, and he was getting like a power sap where it would just plateau and not go any further. Another guy named Matt Leavesley in the community basically has looked into this, and the duty cycle on the turbo on this car basically maxes out around 4,500 RPM to about 5,500 RPM. You're really not getting that much more of a power increase the further you climb. I think he saw it as like 308 horsepower to 327 from 4,500 to 5,500, and that's not a big increase at all. And then he also did a test with a hybrid turbo, and it was way better. But these things are pretty maxed from the factory as far as the turbo goes. But what my buddy Koa had said is he was having an issue where he was getting the power plateau independent of the turbo. And what was going on was his coil packs actually were going bad. And this was with a Hilton tune. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to install the tune box from TDI because I want to see what it is. It's good information for the community to have. It's been in cars before, but I just want to do it because I want to install it. I want to do that and then dyno it and then go to the strip. Then I want to like take it out. I want to do the coil packs. I want to do the Hilton Stage 2 tune again, take it back to the dyno, take it to the strip again and see which one's better maybe. But that's sort of how I want to do everything within the next, like, that'll probably take me in the next like 2 or 3 months. So that's the update on this car. Still waiting on a quote for the blue 240 from my buddy Jesse over on the West Coast. He's on vacation right now, so probably going to get that hopefully in the next week or two to figure it out. And then the green 240 that my buddy Aaron is building, we are still in the works of getting that project started. He's been super busy, so nothing crazy there. But yeah, just lots going on with that stuff. And also back to the Polestar, and the other message that Koa had sent me was the tune that I put on from Hilton, the shifting is not really good, but he apparently got an updated tune. And excuse me, I need a darn coffee. He said that once he got a new map, the shifting is shifting like factory. And I flashed this thing back to stock, and it's actually, the shifting is running totally fine. I think what I really need to do is just do a transadaptation update, and it should just solve the problem. But we'll see. That's sort of where I stand on all of those cars. I also have a totally random idea that Chad doesn't know about of selling this car, getting a different car, and then having money for another thing. So that is very much way out in left field. But there's another buddy I'm talking to at Carlisle named Justin. He owns a big Volvo salvage yard down in Virginia, I want to say it is. And we're going to talk about potentially doing something together, hopefully sooner rather than later, but that hinges on selling this. But we'll see if that even happens. A lot of logistics go into that and things like that. Plus, my wife's going to need a new car in the next couple months too. So that project may be a 2024 kind of thing.
Ooh, I like projects.
Yes. So that is something that's probably at least a year off or so. Let's see what we're talking about in chat after all that ranting. Antoine, not going fully EV, or at least they say so. Mazda is doing a next gen NE MX-5 Miata, supposedly with a mild hybrid plus gas combination. That car with a hybrid would be unbelievable. And I think that on the same note, the BRZ 86 as well. That car with a hybrid, really, like, that car with like 250 horsepower is all you need. And it bothers me to no end that car doesn't have 250 horsepower from factory with like 230 pound-feet of torque. All you need is a turbo. That car, And you don't even need a turbo. You could have just thrown a better tune on the engine that's in there now, because the Ascent has that same engine with a turbo and is pushing 260. You don't need anything crazy. But anyway, totally different topic. And then Doug, on that comment from Antoine, I don't know the weight of the Volvo 48V mild hybrid battery, but it can't be too much. It's the size of a shoebox. Yeah, I mean, mild hybrid stuff is pretty lightweight. EVs are just crazy heavy. They all are for what they are. But mild hybridization with very small batteries, that's something you can do without really going too crazy on the added weight. So we'll see. I'm interested to see what the next Miata is going to be, the next BRZ is going to be, even though that just came out. Obviously, they're all moving towards either hybridization or EV, and the Hyundai that we talked about before. So we'll have to see.
Indeed. Yes, we will. Absolutely. Quite.
Other words. Other transition words.
Doug goes, wait, let's do a turbo red block Miata.
Yes. Yes, let's do that thing that you just said. I'm in.
And then put a Rocket Bunny wide body on it.
Also, yes. Very much hell yes. I'm in. I'm in for that big time. I'm in for that big time. Slap the bass, big time.
I would gladly help anyone else do that who's willing to pay for it. Because
that was going to be my next thing. It's like, I am very loose with everyone else's money. Let's do that.
Yes. I'm still financially recovering from the Mustang.
Yeah. We all are, Chad.
What do you mean?
Wait, no, we're not. I don't know, man. When you search Jaguar F-Type R over on CarMax, there's a couple of good options over there, and we get enough capital, we could get one of those and put it right up against your Mustang.
I mean, we could. Or we could get the Polestar into the 11s. Which I think is more interesting.
Or we get an F-Type R that's already in the 11s, and then put a Velocity AP. No, never. That is not a thing. I love that, but no. Then we put a Velocity AP pulley system on it with a new tune and forged internals. Push it to many Hurst purs and get it into the 9s. I like power, and I support this message.
I'm not going to Google Coyote short blocks. I'm not going to... God damn
it. Yeah, it happens.
What the hell is the website I use for all the Mustang parts? Right. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. See, my internet's going slow. It's like, no, stop it. You already spent a lot. That's actually... So this week, I'm going to be doing the first drive in the Mustang. Next week or the week after, I'm going to be doing the cost breakdown. Which
nice.
Hurts a lot. Engine. There we go.
Yeah, that's going to be a great video for you to make.
Oh, yeah. Just show me the crate engines. Gosh darn it. I already have all of these. There we go. I have 90% of these parts. So let's see here. For there's a Gen 3. I don't want a Gen 3. For performance. All right, this is not the right website. Antoine says, Chad, how much did you pay for the Mustang and how much did you pay in mods compared to where the Dark Horse is at? I'm wondering between your GTN mods if you put as much money in as the Dark Horse cost. Yes. What is the dark horse? Is like 60, peaking out around 60, 60.
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the pricing, honestly.
Mustang dark horse pricing. That's close enough in English. So the dark horse starts at 57. Let's see here. Pricing release.
Yeah, it's it. I mean, it's you're close, but you're. I think you're still cheaper.
So with options, it's pushing over 60K. So the short version is that I bought my Mustang.
You're cheaper.
I bought my Mustang for $25,000. I put about that again plus a little bit more into it. So yeah, I'm a little cheaper. With labor, I'm probably a little more expensive, but only by like a few $1,000s. And the dark horse has 500. Although I do really, really want the twin throttle body. I love that. But
that's cool.
The dark horse is making about 500 crank horsepower, I believe. I'm making 300 more than that. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's making what 500 crank. You're making 200 more than that at the wheels.
Yes. And peak torque at about 4,500 RPM. So, yeah,
it's not even a fair comparison, quite frankly.
Yeah,
they're two totally different cars at that point.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: as projects are, it's not done. I do eventually want to put a good set of coilovers in it after the body mods or stage 1 body mods.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber roof is just sitting in my garage, sadly. So I'm going to be knocking on the door of... it's going to theoretically have the performance of a GT500 for about 30K less. All in. Maybe.
Yeah.
So...
That's good.
It's... The Mustang's kind of my forever car, so I'm constantly going to be working on it. So, Doug asks, have you seen a Kensworth with a jet engine? Sort of makes everything at a drag strip look short of a top fuel car, look slow and underpowered. I've seen those. They're insane. Jet cars scare the crap out of me. Just because of how loud and absolutely bonkers insane they are. Justin feels my pain with the Mustang. He goes, I figured out how much I've spent on the Grand National. Almost cried in the fetal position in the corner of the garage. Yeah, project cars are pricey.
Yeah, but then you're going to drive it to Carlisle and everyone's going to ogle at it and you're just going to have smiles for days. And not even that people are ogling at it or loving it, but you're going to love it and all that money is going to be worth it. That's the thing.
Right. And that's the price we pay for having something interesting, right? Like, am I going to be the only Mustang at Carlisle? I doubt it. I don't know the show well enough, but I doubt I'm going to be the only Mustang there. Is mine going to be more interesting than any other GT that shows up? Probably. I mean, anything short of a twin turbo car is going to be not as interesting.
Right.
Anton, with sound financial ice, trade your Mustang with the mods on it. Get a dark horse with dual throttle body. Double your horsepower to 1,000 if you can pull it off reliably. Yes, but having just spent $30,000 on modifying a car, I'm not looking to do it again. And my car isn't a direct 1-to-1, so it's not like all the mods and stuff I put into it are going to net me $55,000-$60,000 Mustang. It's probably going to put me in the $40,000 range. Tempting as the dark horse.
Yeah, mods don't make cars more expensive. Mostly, they just don't.
I've seen twin turbo cars. I've seen positive displacement cars, and with the supporting mods that I have put into it, transmission, driveline, etc. 40 to 42,000 is kind of where I would be sitting if I wanted to sell or let alone trade it in. Look, I've thought about it just for the simple fact that being one of the first people to mod like a Dark Horse would be good content. But part of the reason I got the Mustang was to just have fun with a car and create content with it. If I was looking for creating good content, I'd still own the C30 and probably have Jesse, the guy who has the blue 240, probably have him build me the mother of all NA motors for it.
Right.
Which would have been cheaper than doing the Mustang. But that's been a dream of mine. Something I'll touch on in this week's video is what the car means. So the whole, apart from having a stupid, ridiculous, insanely powerful vehicle, part of the inspiration for this car was to do something similar to what my dad did with his 59 Corvette when he was roughly probably 10 or so years younger than me. You know, he took the 283 out, he put a 327 in, had it bored, stroked, balanced, blueprinted to about 360, 370 cubic inches. Massive four-barrel carburetor on it, like a 650 dual pumper. If you speak carb, that is way too much carb for that engine, so he had to jet it way down. But I wanted to do something like that. I wanted to have something for the day that was stupid powerful. And my dad was the inspiration, and even more so now, you know, since his passing last year. It just means more to me. Like, I have that car that kind of he had. Now, if I follow the trajectory, my next vehicle is a 73 Beetle. So I don't know if I want to go that route, but my dad also had a 65 Mustang 289 notch with a high output 289 in it. So like that American muscle, so to speak, American sports car kind of thing runs deep in our family. And that's why, in addition to being able to do it, like the pride of saying that we worked our tails off for 10 years at Shifting Lanes, and now the company has a 705 wheel horsepower vehicle. Yeah, it's
that's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool to be able to say that.
Yeah.
Doug just go. I knew I'd get Doug. Doug goes, C1 solid axle. Yeah, that was it. I mean, the only thing I would consider trading the Mustang for is a 59 Corvette. That's it. That's the only car that could come close to matching kind of the sentimental thing. Some of the last drives I did with my father were in my Mustang, so like the only thing that could potentially top it would be that 59 Vet. Now I'd put my own spin on it, but that's kind of it. But you do this time all the time, like Justin with his Grand National, Doug with any of your, well, based on your recent social media posts, effectively farm equipment masquerading as vehicles for the road. You know, I play the game.
Any number of his 87 projects that he currently has going.
You know, I play with it. You know, I play every day. I come around like, ooh, I could do something with that. And then it's like, no, stop it. Because the only way I'd be able to do some of this stuff is to get rid of the Mustang. And I'm not there yet. Anywho, heading over to the YouTube chat, we have our member over there, Andrew. He's getting his vehicle worked on at a garage in Frederick called University Auto. They're passionate about Volvos, awesome, and they will work on Volvos, and they are going to work on Volvos and nail law about them. Awesome that there's a place out there that's working on Volvos, but it's in Frederick, Maryland. Check everything on Volvos, make sure everything is fine. If it isn't, they will go over to the maintenance and issues that the Volvo is having. And then he asks, how much would it cost for maintenance and the issues needs to be fixed? A little more cheaper than it would be taking it to the dealership. If I'm understanding this correctly, that's pretty awesome if they're using it as a way of teaching the next generation of mechanics and stuff. And that's usually how it works. Like, you pay a discount because it's being used in instruction. I kicked around the idea of the M3 taking it. I have a couple friends of mine who work at a Votech school near-ish to me, and having them kind of go over it for a little bit. In hindsight, I would have preferred to do that. I'm not getting into anything beyond that, but I love that stuff. Like, if I had a vehicle, I would love to. I would love to partner with a local Votech and do a project with them. Just because it would be cool to do the project. It would be cool for them and kind of foster enthusiasm as opposed to doing oil changes on the faculty's cars and stuff like that. They'd be passionate about it, and I really like seeing that. I really like seeing the passion in the quote unquote next generation. It's something I've thought about, but like I said, I kind of tapped myself out getting to here. So, but down the road, hopefully in a year's time or so, definitely can make it work. Steve took a minute window from his girlfriend's birthday to say hello. What's up, man? And happy birthday, Steve's girlfriend.
Steve girl.
Exactly.
Happy birthday.
So,
because she watches too with Steve. So
nice.
Happy birthday to her. And glad to have you on for a hot second, Steve. Thanks for joining, as always. And I hope she has a wonderful birthday as well. And I believe Steve Gal's birthday is the same as Justin's birthday. So we got a whole bunch of birthdays here over on Shifting Lanes supporter group today, which is wonderful.
Man, yeah, my Facebook birthdays was like, holy cow, they're just outside of it. Like Justin popped up, and like 3 or 4 of my other friends popped up. It was crazy. But Steve, always
we all have that one day.
Always a pleasure to have you, my dude.
Yes.
And brain lag, and glad we could share the birthday. So there it is.
Yes.
Anywho, Antoine raises an interesting question, just based on the first sentence of many. What do you guys think Ford is going to do with the next-gen Shelby Mustang? We know Shelby GT500 is going to happen without question. What do they do after the S550 Shelby GT350, GT350R, with the dark horse being 26 horsepower less than the 350 and 350R, but has like 7 pound-foot of torque more? Does Ford Performance do another 350 and then GT350R, or do they upgrade from the 350, call it a GT400 or GT400R, and be like a 670 horsepower, 660 torque, like the S197 GT500, but not encroach on the S550 GT500 700 horsepower monster? I think they set the benchmark with the S550 GT350 Shelby. They set that benchmark to have a truly amazing, awesome, stupid fast, technologically advanced Mustang with that. I've always maintained, and I get a lot of hate for this over with the Mustang guys, but I also feel that the Voodoo engine, while an engineering marvel, is unnecessary because the Coyote's just that damn good. Made evident by the new Dark Horse's 500 horsepower. You don't really, if you do the same treatment that the Voodoo got, i.e. actually fabricated headers, so it's not an exhaust manifold, it actually has shorty headers on it, equal length headers, you're right there at that performance level. That said, really, it boils down to, in my opinion, what they want. So if you want a next gen 350, I think you have to make at least 550 horsepower NA. It has to keep the screaming redline. Now, here's the thing: with just cams, springs, and retainers, you can rev a Gen 2 Coyote, let alone the Gen 3 Plus that's in the Dark Horse, to 7,800 RPM. That's just a stone's throw away from the 8,300 that the Voodoo makes. And if you can increase torque, increasing revs will increase horsepower, right? Because horsepower is torque over time. and time being your RPM range. You'd have to retune the engine, but that's kind of a simple way of looking at it. So 550, 600 horsepower NA, which is eminently doable. I mean, they can get close to 700 out of the Illuminator crate engine that you can buy on Ford Performance now. So, I mean, shoot, you could probably get close to 550 just by upping the displacement to 5.2 liters. Like that's so.
Right.
I think they'd want to keep that sort of sports car, sort of corner carving Mustang ethos alive with an exciting engine. As far as the 500, God only knows. I personally believe it's going to be some variation of twin turbo, and I think we're going to knock on the door of 800 horsepower. Just as a, hey Dodge, you're getting rid of the Hellcat? Yeah, we're not. Kind of a marketing thing. Because the only way, like, here's the thing. If you consider the S550 GT500 as peak 500, where do you go from there, right? You almost run into what Chevy considered peak front-engine Corvette with the ZR1 or Z06, making well over 700 horsepower. Their only thing was to go mid-engine. Mustang ain't going to do that. Mustang's going to stay true to kind of its form, because the Mustang was never a Zora concept in the 60s and 70s of a mid-engine, nor was it ever really on Mustang's radar. So either you kind of make similar power to what you're making now, maybe like 30, 40 more with turbos, or it's going to be an absolute monster making over 800 horsepower is kind of my guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in that same boat, but I don't think it's going to be turbos. I think it's going to be a supercharged dark horse sort of thing, if you will, with 800 horsepower. That's my guess. I don't think they're going to make another GT350. That is my hot take there. I think they are going to let the S550, GT350, and GT350R sort of lie as it is. Steve, thanks for joining in again. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week on the next stream. And happy birthday again to your lady. I believe you said her name was Abigail. So yes, Abigail. So happy birthday to Abigail. So for I don't think they're going to do another GT350. I really don't. I think if they do, this next one will be the last one. Before Mustangs do hybridization or whatever. But I don't think they're going to make one for this generation. I really don't. I think they're going to do a GT5. I think we'll see it in 2025, maybe 2026, just to continue the hype to build it. But I don't know. I don't see them making another GT350 because I don't think they're going to make another engine outside of the Coyote. If they do make more Voodoos, it's going to be a heavily revised version of that. But I don't see them doing it.
Yeah, I could see one of two routes. Right?
Excuse me.
I could see them making a stripped out 2-seat 530 to 550 horsepower version of the Dark Horse. And kind of keeping the three, like, make it as light as a Mustang can be. Decent power, decent revs, and putting the 350 badge on it, because I think that badge and that brand, sub-brand, has value. Or they might just make a Dark Horse R, and that'll be that version of it, so to speak. I'm interested to see where they go with it. I mean, I kind of agree with you. Like, the 350 kind of sits in no man's land, and they already have the Dark Horse, which then would in turn means a spicier Dark Horse would have to be $75K, and at that point, you really start to wonder how many of those are you going to sell as for Mustang, right? But I don't know. I just think 350 has it's just such an it's just such a name. I'm struggling with it because I'd agree with you. I think they'll make one, but I don't think they'll make one. Like I'm back and forth, but like I don't know. Maybe the dark horse is kind of like the new age, and it doesn't have heritage at all, which means that they could make a dark horse R that makes a little more power with the motor and has a hybrid on it, right? And they won't sully the name of Shelby, kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see that happening.
Right.
To get you to your like 600, 650 horsepower. And then, like I said, the 500, I agree with you. Absolutely has to happen. Just again, because it would be kind of a middle finger to Dodge. Like, oh, you don't think there's a future for this?
Well, I also think that they're going to do it as long as they can. And Ford Performance is one of those sort of niches within a company that's like, we're just going to keep doing this. Dodge is like, blowing the smoke of like, we're getting out in front of it before everyone else does. They could absolutely have continued to make Hellcats for the next probably 5 to 10 years. That's if they ever come out with that news, it's like, oh, we couldn't do it. Like total bullshit. They absolutely could have done it. I think they just wanted to be sort of first to market. Chevy already has an electric Corvette coming. The Camaro is going to be rebranded as something else. So,
the Panther.
Quite frankly, like it behooves Ford to then make a V8 supercharged Mustang for as long as humanly possible until they absolutely have to shut it down. So,
right. And again,
they could see this as maybe the last hurrah for the V8 supercharged Mustang. Like this could be the last GT500 they ever make, and
right.
They're going to make sure they're going to make damn sure that they do it in this generation for sure. The last one's not going to be the last one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll just touch on what Doug said over in Facebook chat. Ford Corp tried to kill the Mustang before, though. Remember the Probe? And in my opinion, the Mach-E is another effort. Okay, so one, there was a lesson to be learned with the Probe. They tried to deviate from the Mustang ethos, and there was a near revolt. And I think with the S550, Ford kind of found it with the Mustang. And I don't mean the previous generations weren't good. Don't get me wrong. But look at what the S550 brought to Mustang. Independent rear suspension. Still goes like a bat out of hell in a straight line on the drag strip, but now handles corners way better. You brought a dual overhead cam, rev-happy V8 that they then put a flat plane crank in and went over 8,000 RPM, right? So like they're pushing the envelope of stuff we typically see in more higher-end sports car stuff. So I think Ford with the Mustang gets it. Just like Dodge got it.
Well, it's their only car. They have to get it.
Well, not only that, but it's kind of similar to how Dodge got it. They were like, well, shoot, we don't have any money. All right, we're going to dive deep into this muscle car thing because our car is basically 30 years old. And really dive headfirst into that. And that was one of the smartest things Dodge ever did. And because let's face it, to develop a supercharged version of a V8 you've already basically made, the 6.2 liter V8, isn't that expensive when you're a massive manu. So to create a Hellcat wasn't expensive. So, but Ford kind of went the other way. It's like Ford was the original pony car, and they stuck to that pony car thing where it's a sports car that's a little bit on the heavier side, considering the sports car. Like consider an Jag F-Type R like we were talking about, and the Mustang. Mm-hmm. Right? The Jag is heavy, or lighter, I should say. The Mustang is a heavier vehicle.
Actually, I don't think so.
What does the Jag weigh?
I want to say it's 3,800 pounds. So hang on. Let's do 2017 just to make sure that it has the all-wheel drive. 2017 Jaguar F-Type curb
Okay,
weight.
so they're about the same weight.
So we got 3455 to 3847, and the V8's going to be on the higher end of that. I think the 3455 is the V6.
Yeah, I'm seeing 3,900.
And yeah, I'd say 3,800, 39 rounding up. So yeah, you're looking at close to 4,000 pounds. And I think the Mustang with the V8 was right in the same ballpark when it came out. I think it was 3,500 for the EcoBoost 4 and 38 plus for the V8.
It's actually lighter. The Jag.
What the Mustang
Jag
is?
was like 3,960. The Mustang, according to this, is 3,825. Okay, so take back everything I said. They're basically the same.
I think. Well, I mean, I think the F-Type with the all-wheel drive is 38 and change, and I think the F-Type with the rear-wheel drive is 37 and change.
Right. Anyway, we're 100 pounds here or there.
Right.
And probably half of that weight is just in the wheels on the premium package wheels for the Mustang. Those things are heavy as hell. Yeah, so I mean, the Mustang is a sports car. It's on the heavier side of it. Like Doug says, the SN95 was the last right-sized Mustang. It's a shame they didn't continue that size. I agree. Like my car.
What was the SN95? I don't know that designation.
That is, that's before the retro that they went to. It's the New Edge. I believe it's the New Edge Mustang, if memory serves.
Oh, the one after the Fox body.
Right. The 90.
Right.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, look, that size Coyote and the way my car handles is obviously would be a very impressive vehicle. That said, the brakes on my car are the most impressive thing about it. Like just how powerful they are. It makes the car feel so much smaller than it actually is.
Yeah. Well, good brakes are. A lot of people put a lot of weight on power, but power doesn't mean anything unless you can stop it. And good brakes, like I'm talking really good brakes, not carbon ceramics, because those are track tech that really don't need to be on road cars, quite frankly. Like 99.9% of road cars don't need carbon ceramic brakes.
In fact, it's a detriment.
Right, exactly. You have to have them warmed up. You have to have them appropriately temperatured, broken in, blah, blah, blah. But like a really good large pair of brakes is just as impressive as 1,000 horsepower.
Right.
Because if you have all the power in the world and you can't stop it, then it's totally useless. And the best thing I ever did or realized when you and I went up to Connecticut to do the driving event that Bartis had bought us, where we almost died in my WRX because of the freaking wheel bolts coming home. But we drove that Gallardo. And
I'm still convinced it was running on 8 cylinders, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it definitely did not sound like a Gallardo at all. But we didn't have we weren't doing like a full track drive. It was just like a sort of a mini little autocross course kind of thing. But the brakes on that car were insane. And that was the day that I realized that like good brakes are just as impressive as big power. Like the stopping force and my face just going like from the force of the brakes, like just actually stopping was like bananas.
The fact is,
so like
good brakes allow you to be in power for longer, right? So
right, exactly. And the fact that like you are saying I have a 700 horsepower Mustang, but the brakes are sort of one of the most impressive things about my car. That should speak volumes for everybody.
Right. I mean, I'll put it to you another way. The front brakes on my car were off of the previous generation's GT500. So we're talking 6-piston, 15-inch rotors.
Yeah.
Huge.
They're serious brakes.
They're insane. It makes cleaning the tunnels on or the barrels on my wheels a pain in the rear end, but they're hugely impressive. And yeah, I kind of want to replicate that in the rear. Um, just the rear brakes on the Mustang GT haven't changed in years, like decades almost. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I think it was the generation after the SN95, but it's basically the same brake setup all the way through. Now, don't get me wrong, most of the braking's done by the front in almost every
Sure.
car.
As it should be.
So, but like I kind of want to get the 14 and a half, 14-inch rotors in the back with a four pot just to fill the wheel because I'm vain and that sort of thing. One thing I did want to touch on
Yeah.
and kind of wrap up the Mustang talk was Antoine's comment. They're making a Dark Horse R, but supposedly it's going to be track only and not road legal. There's a standard horse for the street, Dark Horse S for the track, and Dark Horse R that'll be above, more aggressive than the Horse S. Yes, and I absolutely hate cars that are built just for the track. I don't care if they are. It's a race car, and
Yeah, like the Ferrari FXXK, like those things. Aston Martin was the Valkyrie or whatever it is. Or is the Vulcan, that one? Like they're cool for a day, and they sound great on YouTube. Other than that, like I don't even think about them at all. I really don't.
I mean, let me put it this way: if you have those car money, you have trailer money. But
Yeah,
like,
if you have any car money, quite frankly.
but in a Mustang, it just makes little to no sense to me, especially when you could theoretically go to Ford Performance and be like, "Yes, I'll have a GT4 car, please." I mean,
Yeah,
granted, they're pretty expensive, but
but you
you
could
could
do that.
actually buy that car and race it in a GT4 series, assuming you were properly licensed and everything, as opposed to
Yes.
a track only version of a street car. Like, it's just, it doesn't do it for me. I don't care if it
Yeah.
makes a million plus one horsepower. It stops better than any car ever existed. You can only have it on the track. Like, not 90% of the enjoyment of cars is on regular roads. If it's not legal for regular roads, um,
Then who cares?
Greg,
You're
I have a phone
muted.
call. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Chad has a phone call. Let's see. Antoine, did you guys see? Oops. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Unhide. I hit all the buttons at once, and none of them worked properly. Antoine, did you guys see the M2 CS in camouflage recently? It's under development right now, without an M2 comp pack on the G87 series platform. I wasn't expecting the M2 CS to come in so sudden. Um, have not, excuse me, have not seen that actually. Quite frankly, I saw the new M2 and I instantly lost interest. It's okay, but it's quite frankly horrible, just like most of the new BMWs that are coming out, including the new G80 3 Series and 4 Series. So yeah, not a fan. I didn't really care. I'm sorry, but I just didn't because the M2 is just ugly. As with a lot of new BMWs, the design team is just missing every single time with that brand for a brand that for the last 50 years prior, even going back longer than that, had design that was just utterly timeless. The last good looking 3 Series is the F80. Like I think it's F80. Yeah, or F30 or whatever it is. The one right after the E90. So that generation is the last good looking 3 Series, quite frankly. So when the new M2 came out, or the new 2 Series and M2, I really couldn't care less. They're great performance cars, but I don't know. They do nothing for me. They're ugly, And I didn't see the new M2 CS in camouflage, so maybe it's looking a little bit better. But I haven't really kept up on the BMW M stuff recently. Plus, they're not bringing the M3 wagon to the US. And with Audi bringing the RS6 and potentially the RS4 and the Mercedes E-Class AMG wagon being here, BMW not bringing a 3 Series M3 wagon here is just kind of a slap in the face. So as of right now, I'm sort of totally over BMW as a brand in full. They're just trying to be a lifestyle brand that happens to make cars at this point. Not interested. I would much rather own an Audi or a Mercedes if I had new car money right now. Used cars, totally different story. I would buy E30 M3, E90 M3, E92 M3, F80 M3. That generation of 4 really doesn't do anything for me, but I'll be interested to see how the M2 performs when it comes out, but I have not been following it, nor have I seen that. So I will look for next week, Antoine, and I will get back to you on that one. Let's see. Justin, money. What's that? Must be something I don't have. Yeah, same. With you, brother. With you. But you did just sink a whole bunch of money into your Grand National, so I do know that your money is being spent wisely. I see you. Let's see. Doug, legal, so you stay at the speed limit? Nah. No. Forget that. That's a terrible thing. But also, don't speed. Let's see. I guess maybe since we did sort of end the Mustang conversation, let's cut it there, and let's talk about Carlisle. So if you are watching this stream right now on Facebook, on Instagram, or sorry, not Instagram, though Instagram does have a live stream option now. I wonder if we can get on live there. Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. This week is Carlisle week. It is the Carlisle Import and Performance Nationals in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. A bunch of you in stream are going to that show. We'll be there. We're going to meet you. We're going to hang out. I've already met Doug before, so I won't be meeting Doug. I will be seeing him again. But the rest of you that are coming, excited to meet you guys, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But this is going to be a really fun show because it's going to be the first thing that Chad and I have actually gone to together as an event since we did the trip to the Tail of the Dragon back in 2019 with the Volvo crew, with the C30 crew. So that's going to be really fun. It's not going to be a whole lot of driving. We're going to do a drive that Doug has prepared from Carlisle to his house to do the movie night, which is going to be a lot of fun. But it's not a real big driving event like the Tail of the Dragon was. That being said, it is a big event. Now, if you don't know what it is, Carlisle, Pennsylvania is a town about 45 minutes south of State College, which is where Penn State is. If you're in the U.S., you know what Penn State is. Penn State is the college I went to. So maybe an hour or 45 minutes, southeast of State College, Pennsylvania. And it's a big fairgrounds. Probably, I would say thousands of cars come out to this event because there's the whole show field, and then there's a whole parking off to another side. There's a campground. There is a ton of events. There are vendors. So there are probably thousands of vehicles that show up over the course of 2 or 3 days. And it is a blast. You have, like I said, vendors to buy stuff from. There's a burnout contest. There is a exhaust competition that I'm going to be in and Chad's going to be in. And I believe Doug is going to be in too. So that's going to be cool. Then there is judging. There's concours judging. If you have a really nice car, you can roll it through the concours judging and have it judged there. There's an autocross. There's also a drift competition. So there's something for everybody over there for the next couple of days, basically. People start rolling in Thursday night, and it's going to be basically from people arriving Thursday night all through Sunday morning. You can just, leave then. But it's a big thing. And this is one of the premier events on the East Coast for imports because this is I learned this last year. Saab, obviously the defunct brand from Sweden, this is their national meet. So that's why, and I never realized they had this like huge sort of Taj Mahal tent, and it is massive. It is the biggest tent at the fairgrounds by a mile every single year. Um, it looks like Ford bought a tent there and basically put it up. But this is their national meet. They usually win for total cars. It's like 400 or 500 cars they bring every year. It's nuts. So they do that. It's really cool. Volvo usually comes in second because it's just a very Northeast is a very big conglomeration of Volvos. So everyone kind of goes there to Carlisle, and then there's all sorts of other stuff. You have a big Subi crowd, big Honda crowd, not a ton of British stuff, some JDM things. But it's not just an import show, it's import and performance. So you get a bunch of domestics there too. Last year, a Mustang GT500, a new one, a modern one, won the exhaust competition, as it should, because it sounded ridiculously awesome. Then you get just so many other things there that are either eclectic. There was a Jaguar that was turned into a Ute one year. It's just really cool stuff all over the place. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we are going to have so much content coming out of there. Chad and I are probably each going to film about 30 different reels while we're there, or short form stuff. So over the course of the next month or two, you're going to be seeing a whole bunch of things from that show. So if you can't go, you'll get a full immersive experience. It's going to be really, really fun. So that's sort of the other big news. We're going there. I'll be camping there with the Volvo crew, and then I think Chad's grabbing a hotel. It'll be really good, and we're going to spend 2 days and meet a bunch of you and talk to a bunch of you. It's going to be really fun. So with that said, Chad, have you returned?
Looking forward to it.
Yes, outstanding. Because now I've had too much juice and I have to pee, so I'll be back.
Alrighty. So I did want to touch on something. So we talked about it a little bit last week. The Gran Turismo movie. They launched a trailer. And I'm actually pretty excited for it because I don't know when the last time we got a sports car racing movie. In fact, I'm struggling to think of anything other than the Steve McQueen's Le Mans. So I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I like how they're including other things than just Nissan. I haven't gotten a good enough glimpse at the prototypes in the trailer. I'm not sure if it's actually the Nissan Daytona prototype, like the actual car or the actual body, or if it's just a rebodied LMP3 car. I know, really nerdy stuff there. But I'm pretty excited to see it. I just hope they don't dive too much into over dramatizing it, making the journey like you can't do it, blah blah blah. Like you shouldn't do, like you know how these movies can get to try to drive it home. The whole story of the GT Academy is a good enough story as it is. The whole Jan Middleborough's story is merit enough, but they've changed some names around. Like Orlando Bloom's character is the role of Darren Cox, whose idea this whole thing was. And they've changed the name, which means I feel like they're going to take a pretty healthy amount of creative license with this. It's not going to be entirely the true story, which, I mean, they could have made it kind of like that, and it would have been a really interesting movie anyway, because Jan Middleborough drove in everything. GT cars, GT3, GT500 over in Japan. He was on the kind of stillborn, competed, but not really all that competitively at Le Mans. The GTR LMP1 car that was front wheel drive car that was hybridized and all this stuff that really took a unique look at what a race car could be. I thought it was pretty dang cool, but they never really got off the ground because I think it was just they had enough money to, hey, we could do this, but then realized we don't have enough money to do this as long as it actually takes. No new race car of that ilk gets one season and is perfect out of the box. I mean, shoot, they did more development on the Delta Wing than they did that car. But I'm pretty interested to see it because like Gran Turismo, big part of my life. Like I've played it ever since Gran Turismo 2. So it's a very interesting game. Might one of these days kind of play it on stream, but not 100% sure. Like something I'm thinking about. But the other interesting thing was another like we're actually being spoiled for choice, and I think we have a lot. We have like Rush and the success of Rush to thank for this because it took a true story about motorsport in Formula One, which admittedly is gaining popularity in the States thanks to Drive to Survive and things like that. But the new Brad Pitt movie that they're doing with, I think Lewis Hamilton's a producer on it, that they're actually going to be a quote unquote 11th team on the grid at Silverstone this year and some other races. Like they're really diving into the details with this. I think Mercedes actually developed a specific car for the movie. So like that's pretty cool. Like they developed the movie F1 car. Might be why their cars kind of shit the last 2 years. Because they've been doing that. And there's only so many hours in the day. But and that's one I'm really excited to see because like they're really diving into the nerdy detail on this. They've developed a new camera rig for 6K that's like immersive driver POI, that sort of thing. So I'm pretty stoked to start seeing like when the trailers for that start coming out. I mean, obviously it's still in production, so it's going to be a minute, but that could be a really, really interesting movie. I'm excited for that. You guys over in chat, Nicholas goes, Gran Turismo 2 was the shit. I agree. Got me hooked on racing games. Spent hours with that thing, man. It was consumed a lot of my young adult life. Antoine goes, Gran Turismo versus Ford versus Ferrari for based on a true story movies, even though the Gran Turismo movie is not out yet. As much creative license as they took in Ford versus Ferrari, I think they're going to take more in the Gran Turismo thing. And I think Ford versus Ferrari is just, that's a next level story. Like, I don't think you're ever going to see a major manufacturer just, these guys screwed me, throw millions of dollars at just crushing them for a vehicle that never made it to the road. Like, that is nuts. That'd be the equivalent of, I don't even know if there's a modern equivalent. Like, I'm struggling to think. But, like, that was, motor racing now is just a marketing exercise. That's why the balance of performance is so prevalent, because nobody wants to go and fail and then it just be a black mark on their sort of resume, so to speak. So that's why like GT3, even the top levels of prototype racing is be a balance of performance to a certain degree. So I don't know if you're ever going to see that again. And it's just such an insane story. And I mean, I agree with Nick as well. Rush was a great movie, and Rush was another one. Like, could you imagine a race today in F1, a driver getting those level of injuries, coming back and still having a chance at the world title? That'd be like, I mean, Red Bull's running away with it, right? But like, that would have, like, again, the modern equivalent you couldn't even think of, because just the safety that they do now in motorsport is so next level that I don't even think you could clear a driver after getting third degree burns on however percentage of the body and race that shortly after. Like, again, just a truly amazing story. Justin goes, I remember my first endurance race in Gran Turismo. That was a very long day. But I loved how they leaned into that. I think, honestly, it would be really cool to do something like that with, if we could get enough people and do like a 12-hour race. And literally, like, Greg would get in, go, and I'd actually have to sleep. I think that would be like a really cool thing to do. lot of time, but I think
stuff. Now it's like sanctioned and everything, but they do the full 24 hours of Le Mans, 24 hours of Daytona on iRacing. And it's a big thing. I think actually, I want to say Max Verstappen and Lando Norris actually did it one year or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's huge in iRacing.
It's huge,
but iRacing, you need a pedal. You need like a rig.
Oh yeah.
That and a setup Corsa on controller is next to impossible. Antoine goes, I haven't played Gran Turismo since PlayStation 2 with the GT3 A-Spec. That's how old I am. 37, cough, cough. I'll be turning 40 this year if it makes you feel any better.
And I'm 1 year behind. So I'm turning 39 in July and I'll be 40 next July. I'm with you.
Doug asked, didn't Benz do something similar maybe 20 years ago? I forgot the racing type, but pretty much killed the series. I think you're thinking of the CLKR or whatever it is. Okay.
It's a DTM one, right?
No, it's the CLK GTR. Basically, when Group C and early days of GT1 was at its absolute heyday, that's when you got like the 911 GT1. You got the McLaren F1, which was in it. You had all these cars that they were basically only had to make like 2 road-going versions of. Nissan did one. Toyota did one. Like effectively the heyday of sports car racing, which I think we're getting back to with the hypercar and GTP regulations. But they won't be it. Like Mercedes, there's a... I forget where the YouTube video is, but there's a YouTube video. It was like the car that killed it. And the craziest thing about those cars are they were so dominant in the regular races, but went flipping through the air in not the GTR. I forget the actual CLR. I think it was the CLR. But those were the ones that famously flipped through the air at Le Mans. But those cars were so dominant in the normal races, which is crazy to me, right? That they were like, wait a minute, this stuff's getting way too fast. So that's when they sort of dialed it back. GT1, and then right around that era where GT1 and LMP1 kind of, there was a thing of like which was going to be the top flight that moved forward. And Audi actually built a car for both classes, which is nuts. And then they eventually settled on the R8 Spider or whatever they called it, which then went on to dominate. And then when they didn't win, when Bentley won, that was a rebodied version of the coupe variant of the R8. So like, and it had all, even though it was a team at the United Kingdom, it was mostly Yoast mechanics who were like bored. Or just Audi, because Audi had stopped being a factory presence, that went over and actually worked on the cars and was like the crew and stuff like that. Like, yeah. And then Audi basically nuked LMP1. Granted, the 919 and the Toyota, those things were becoming spaceships and just way too. Again, when you get to a level where the expense approaches Formula One, but for half of the races, sports car racing has this natural, nobody wants to do it, let's do something different. It has this ebb and flow, which is why the GTP and the hypercar thing with a fixed cost cap is so intriguing, because you have 2 different avenues to kind of get to the same performance window, which is very exciting. And I mean, I forget the number of cars, prototypes that are going to be on the grid for Le Mans this year, but it's going to be way more than it has been in the last 20, 30 years. And that, for me, a sports car nut, that is hugely exciting.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see here.
So I'm doing like 1,000 things at once.
Yeah. I'm down. Enough coffee and Red Bull will keep me going. Doug turns 40 next month. Nicholas will be 40 in September. We got a lot of similarly aged individuals watching us.
Did we all graduate together? Oh my God. Coffee and Red Bull, Justin, man, that's brave, dude. I can't. No way. I My new thing is Celsius, which is what DDE drinks, and I didn't really know about it until I started to drink it. So then I just tried one. They're actually really good, and they are good for energy. I can't do Red Bull or anything like that anymore. It is just way too gross for me. The Celsius stuff is really good. So I can't do Red Bull.
Well, here's the thing.
If I'm gonna do one of those, I'm gonna do NOS if I can find it.
The flavors of Celsius I like aren't in the Wawa next to work. So like,
yeah,
there's
there's a ton of flavors. You got to find one you like.
Yeah, it's the ones I can get taste too like you can taste. I can taste like the artificial. I know they're not artificially sweetened, but they have that sort of aftertaste. Is maybe what it is. Justin's on board with you on the Peach Vibe is his favorite. I think that's one of the one.
Peach Vibe is very good. That's probably one of the better ones. They had one that just came out actually. It was it's like a cherry limeade or something like that. That one's super good like too. That one was very
strawberry, like pomegranate or something like that. That I actually really liked. That I shouldn't be a lazy jackass and just find online and buy. Like,
yeah. Still waiting on that Rich Energy case.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever seeing that.
Hell no. There's not. I don't even know if they're a company anymore. I'm looking it up now. Oh wow, they still have a website.
Website under construction. It's the Rox energy drink. Interesting. The orange one tastes like a creamsicle. My mind immediately went to Orange Julius's. So, oh man! But yes, you will see me more than likely walking around Carlisle with a Red Bull. Like, I'm
probably yeah.
But I used to have a really bad Red Bull addiction. I've cut back. When you're sitting there and you go to playing the golf league that I played, and I'm like, I can literally see the inside of the golf ball. This is not good. Like how wired you are. What is it? When like Fry does like the 1,000th cup of coffee or something like that. And
he's turning superhuman speed.
Greg will have stickers at Carlisle, I believe.
Yes, I have stickers. And it's not stickers, it's the white vinyl, basically, that you put on the outside of your window.
Yo, I think y'all might need to cut it short for the night. Chad cannot stay awake after being awake since 6:30 a.m. for 2 weeks straight. He's probably ready to go to bed.
We'll probably be cutting it in the next 10 minutes. I'd be honest.
Here's how brain function not good. I don't even remember if I've said that on stream, but my first thought was like, all right, where's the hidden camera? Yeah, and I'm hey Mike, what's going on?
What's up, Mike?
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. It's been about 2.5 months.
Yeah,
I'm ready to have some more employees at my job.
And just some stability.
Yeah, having a schedule would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, we kind of land on something and then be back to, I don't know, not zombified me.
Yeah.
But Mike has 2 turbo kits sitting in the shop. Nice. Hot take, put both of them on a V8.
Yes. Quad turbo V8.
I mean, it's been done. But
I also read that as 2 turbo kits, as in 2 twin turbos. That's how I read that. It's not how you meant it, but that's how tired I am. I thought you had 4 turbos just sitting around. So I thought, turbo kit. 2 turbos. That's not how turbo kits work. Ignore me.
Yeah, I think we're both Gen 5 Morrow. Is Mike speaking Volvo? Because I'm confused.
Gen 5 Camaro.
Oh, so he's speaking actually the language of my people.
Yes.
Singles. That's actually pretty insane. Gen 5. Oh, so you have the cheese wedge Camaro, right? It's Gen 5.
No, that's the 4. Gen 4 Camaro is the one that was the cheese wedge.
Oh, yeah. So it's the first of the retro.
Yeah.
Nice. Question. Are the turbos on the Camaro? Because I have propositions.
As in, where are you located and how quickly can we get both of your car and my cars to the strip?
Yes. 2013 for Mike. No, Antoine Hansen didn't go full time. He still has a regular job. More than likely will continue to have that just because it's an amazing job with crazy awesome benefits. But he does put a crap ton of effort into his reviews. So I hate to sound like a teacher trying to give like the kid he's to be commended for it, right? But he does an awesome, amazing job with all this stuff. So working very hard at this. Yeah, I mean, I would getting coatings stuff dropped off Wednesday. Are you getting the turbo stuff coated, or is it like a ceramic coating?
I would imagine they're getting Cerakoted.
Can confirm that's a good option. That's what's on my Mustang is Cerakoted or ceramic coated.
Yep. My downpipe is also Cerakoted.
Nice.
Good to 1800 degrees, which
nice.
will never ever get anywhere near.
Yeah, because underhood temps be a bitch.
Yeah.
But Mike, I would absolutely love to talk more about your Camaro, but I'm pretty much gassed, and I have a reel to send out, so I still have work to do.
Yes.
So I think we're gonna end it there. I like the I definitely want to hear more about this turbo setup, but I think that's a next week thing. I do apologize. I think you just copped in, but thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week, and actually we'll literally see some of you this weekend. Looking forward to it.
That's right, at Carlisle.
So that I'm really looking forward to it. That's going to be pretty freaking awesome. So
yes.
I will see some of you then. I will see the rest of you next week. As always, I'm Chad. That is Greg, and we'll catch you in the next one. Later, guys.
See ya.